Good evening and welcome to Monster Movie Night. I am your horror host of the evening, Bobby Gammonster, along with my co-host and pal, Boris T Buzzard. Boris, you know, I'm so glad that you're home away from that harrowing experience with that old alien, you know, and in fact, in honor of having you home, I know that over the years you've been trying to communicate with me, and sometimes you've actually spoken, and a lot of times I know that you've let your voice basically go away, right, Boris? But you talk to me in other ways. But now, for this past Yule, I got Boris something special, dear folks. Some buttons, so that he can communicate with myself as well as you a little bit better than just gestures. Right, Boris? Would you like to try one out?
Well, yes.
That's so cool. Yes. Did you have a lovely Yule time this year?
For the last time, no.
Well, I won't ask you anymore. I know you're supposed to have a instead of a lovely time, you're supposed to have a ghastly time, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's a little bit effeminate there. Well, that's okay. We're okay with that, right, Boris? A voice is a voice. We also got a few other little trinkets, and I'll show some more stuff along the way throughout this new year of 2020 and season 11. Wow. Anyway, we picked up a Route 66 chicken. Rubber chicken, that is. You know, it's a staple of some of the horror hosts, if not all of us. So I thought I'd share that with you, huh? Here you go. Anyway, woo! Wow. Did I get you there? No? Well, maybe next time. Well, anyway, you know, Boris had such a horrible time, and I missed him so much. I'm so glad he's back. And because you can't get anyone to make a great gothtini like Boris can. Excuse me a second, please. That's better. That's much better. You have to have a little bit of something O negative or A positive, either one, to wet your whistle as it is. It's still not quite wet enough. But anyway, tonight's feature film, you know, we're getting back to the monster movies, of course. You know, we won't let any aliens tell us what we can and cannot play here, but you know, I felt a little bit bad about blowing him up like that, you know, Boris. Yeah, I know you didn't, did you?
No.
I didn't think you did, but anyway, I thought just in honor a little bit more of that we'd play a semi-science fiction film, a monster movie science fiction film with the great late John Carradine, that lovely resonant deep voice that he had. He's playing a mad scientist in tonight's feature film called Astro Zombies, and he's sort of making the old Frankenstein type deal with the zombies. He's taking a little bits and pieces from one dead cadaver, putting them together, and well, you'll see. Boris, can you do the honors for us with our new internet keyboard connected to our internet haunted TV?
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me a yeah!
Okay, well, that's great then. Okay, all right. Well, since you're I'll do this for you. Okay, let's type it in. Astro Zombies, John Carradine, and let's tune it in from the vault. And let's go.
If your commentary doesn't come on the TV at night, how dare you? No! I've been watching you.
Eric, in the light of recent events, I think it's necessary that we reveal to Dr. Petrovich who you really are. From what you told me, I'm convinced that he has absolutely nothing to do with this situation. Send Dr. Petrovich in, please.
If it's with her, as Dr. DeMarco is somehow connected with the murders, then Dr. Petrovich would be most helpful.
Dr. Petrovich.
Mr. Holman. Dr. Porter, it's a surprise seeing you here.
Good to see you, Doctor.
Sit down, won't you, Doctor?
Thank you.
What we discuss here, gentlemen, must remain in the confines of this room. This is a very delicate situation. We are concerned with the mutilation murders that have occurred over the past 6 months. We have reason to believe that these are somehow related to the work that you and Dr. DeMarco were doing. Consequently, you are not above suspicion. Dr. Porter here, who's worked with you for the past 2 months, is in fact one of our agents. I'm sorry, Doctor, but putting a man in your lab, gain your confidence, is essential to us in confirming your loyalty. Because, you see, Doctor, we are asking for your help.
As you can see, I took the liberty of bringing in some of the experimental work from the lab. Now, you know Dr. DeMarco and the extent of his work better than anyone. I would like you to explain to Mr. Holman here the theories that you and Dr. DeMarco had developed on vital organ implants and thought wave transmission.
Well, gentlemen,
Pardon me, Doctor. There's someone else I want to hear this. Would you have Chuck Edwards come in, please?
Chuck?
Yes, I've asked him to come in on this case. Oh, Chuck, you know Eric, of course.
Good to see you, Chuck.
Hi, Eric. How are you? So this is Dr. Petrovich.
Well, Doctor, it's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard a great deal about your work.
thank you.
Well, please continue, Doctor.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that all of this is somewhat of a shock, but naturally, I'm prepared to give you all the help I'm able.
Doctor, why don't you start with the explanation of the experiments you and Dr. DeMarco were working on at the time he was dismissed from the Aerospace Research Center?
Well, let me go back a little first. As you know, we've had blood banks and eye banks for years, and more recently, liver, kidney transplants. Heart-lung machines are being universally applied. Open heart surgery is common practice. Now, Dr. DeMarco had developed a rudimentary mechanical heart. But more important, at the time of his dismissal, he was deeply involved in thought wave transmission through radio frequencies.
Which has obvious applications in the advance of our man in space program.
Yes, imagine feeding information from computers into the brain of a man in orbital flight.
Now you see, Chuck, why I want you in on this case. Foreign government might be deeply interested in obtaining this information. Chuck is in our subversives division. Oh, incidentally, Chuck, how are you doing with those leads?
All right. Looks like the nightclub's a meeting place. I should get some useful information. If I don't turn into a lush first. Doctor, what exactly do you mean by this thought wave transmission?
Well, here, let me demonstrate. Now, this is a rather primitive device, and we must assume that by now Dr. DeMarco has developed something more sophisticated. The two protrusions are miniaturized transistor radio receivers. As I vary the wavelength frequency of the oscillator, watch the reactions on the brain. There you see, there's a definite response.
So what you're saying is, Doctor, that one man's thoughts can be transmitted to another man's brain and that man will respond to it?
Exactly. In this way, knowledge from the minds of our top astrophysicists, aerospace medical scientists, neurosurgeons, could be combined and projected into the receiving device of a quasi-man in interplanetary spaceflight.
Quasi-man? You mean a sort of a zombie?
Well, it's not exactly scientific terminology, but it would be close to the truth.
What else would you call a man with a synthetic electrically driven heart, a stainless steel mesh stomach, plastic pancreas, cellulose liver, and to mention a few things for a starter?
Incredible.
Not for a minute. And Dr. DeMarco was working on a silicon treatment of the skin, which would make it impervious to micrometeorites.
Now, wait a minute. If this DeMarco and his experiments were so advanced, then why was he dismissed?
Well, when a man doesn't know the difference between an experiment on an Air Force officer and a cadaver, well, I think it's time to drop him from the team.
Look, it's been in these past 6 months that these peculiar murders have taken place. Now, we theorize it is not purely coincidental.
Doctor, there's no need for me to tell you how much we need and appreciate your cooperation. Let me remind you, gentlemen, everything said here is classified. We must continue our investigations undercover.
There he is.
Well,
I have it.
sit down.
Good evening. May I bring you a drink, sir?
Of course. Brandy, please.
Yes, sir.
The recorder, please.
Where's the tape? Foolish. The matter of money first, then the tape.
Pay him one.
One moment, please.
Here we are.
There were some complications, some additional expenses. I find the original price insufficient.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to change our deal?
Well, there were some risks that require more compensation. I need more money.
Why, you... How much?
Double.
Give it to him, one. Now the tape.
I agree. With your kind permission, I will take my leave now. Good night.
Greetings, my dear fiends. I am Bobby Gammonster of Monster Movie Night. What a great year it's going to be, 2020. And of course, many of you knew and know from last year, I was nominated for the official Horror Host Hall of Fame Award to be inducted into this wonderful, wonderful, august assemblage of so many others who have come before me. And anyway, it's time. It's time to vote. So, if you all could please send in your votes for myself and some of my other fellow horror hosts that are also on the ballot. I mean, I've sent in my votes, and it's not only just for myself. That's right, I voted for some of my other friends and fiends. So all you've got to do is go to the email address right below here and send in your vote for the ballot. That's all you have to do. Put down Bobby Gammonster of Monster Movie Night. I vote for him and whoever else that you choose, or anyone else that you choose, actually. And maybe by the deadline, which is, by the way, February 3rd, 2020, maybe I'll be holding, well, a different type of plaque, and perhaps even something that says, old Bobby Gammonster is inducted in this wonderful, wonderful Hall of Fame with so many others. Thank you so much.
Rancho, prepare for a 10.2 memory extraction.
Rancho, have the blood exchanger ready. We must get the patient into the thermal freeze vault before cellular deterioration takes place. Now, Francho, we're ready for the extraction. We must be sure of total degaussing of the circuits. We relieve his motor movements and his memory. He'll use them again. A 10.6 would erase every vestige of memory from the patient's brain. He would lose mobility. He'd be totally helpless. A vegetable, so to speak. A 10.2 would leave his motor movements in the retention cells. His brain may call on them again. Now, Francho, replace the degaussed circuit in the programmer. Then reset the programmer at exactly 10 and 2/10 seconds. This time we must not fail to remove the emotional characteristics. Our only hope of recovering our original creation is to be sure that this brain is a pure calculating machine. Now, 20,000 volts and 500,000 cycles, and we're ready. Now. Francho. We will add this circuit to the memory bank until we can effect an exchange with the first Astro Man. One day we'll be able to fill the memory bank with the most brilliant minds in the world, preserved forever for the benefit of mankind, to call on them for their knowledge. Quickly now, Francho. The blood exchanger. Get him into the thermal freeze vault. If we are to preserve the patient until we can complete the synthetic heart transplant, there must be absolutely no cellular decomposition whatever. We must move quickly now. Circuit number 9.
Dr. Porter.
Where do you get this Dr. Porter bit? Listen, it's after 5 o'clock, right? My name's Eric, remember?
Would you believe a pinch on the nose?
Would you believe a pinch on...
Eric!
The young are never satisfied with anatomical experiments on plastic models.
Oh, you're quite right, Doctor. Now, never inhibit the inquisitive mind.
Or the investigative hands.
Inquisitive investigation is sometimes best done undercover. Well, my dear, what do you think?
That's very nice, Doctor. But I think it's time for you to go home.
Yes, I am tired.
Go on. I'll finish up. I'll help you, Lynn. No, that's all right. You and Casanova have a date.
Chuck's buying a dinner at the carriage house. You know something? I think he's hooked on the dancer.
Oh, really?
Come on. See you at 2 in the morning.
Good night.
Thanks, hon. There's one I owe you. Good night.
Good night, my dear. Don't stay late.
I won't.
It is possible, therefore, to control the Astro Man remotely with thought wave transmissions. All synthetic mechanisms would respond as though human. Take this heart, for example. Not human, solely a product of the laboratory, yet functioning with power from solar energy. You'll notice the heartbeat is uninterrupted.
Which one is Dr. Porter?
The one on the left.
And the girl?
She's an assistant, Dr. Petrovich.
Who's the other man?
Hey, how many guesses do you want? Come on.
What did I tell you? Is she terrific? I love that chick.
Oh, it's a great idea.
I'm jealous.
Oh, I love you, too. Why do you have to get me in trouble all the time?
Well, it's your girlfriend.
She's with two others, Porter and another man.
You are to observe only. Then leave the club before you're seen.
If you don't mind, I must thank yours.
But I do mind. You are to leave now. Return here immediately.
Spakasi card.
Come on, boy. It's gonna cost you $10, buddy, I think.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, pal. Hold on. You watch this now. Just keep your eye on it.
Now what?
Yeah, just hold on. Hold on. It's gonna be all right. That $10 is mine. Gotta be careful now.
Easy,
easy money. Easy money.
Well, at least you can buy me a drink.
Here you are.
And her, too.
Chuck. Oh, Chuck. Do you find the study of anatomy interesting?
That's my favorite of all studies.
Well, like Dr. Petrovich said, we're undercover men.
Yeah.
Better inside. I'm sure he's not alone.
Tell us about it, friend.
You guessed right.
Who's it trying to put on? CIA.
Who are you? Come on. Who are you? Kill him.
Why?
I said kill him! Don't you ever question my orders again. And get rid of him.
All right, hold it right there.
What a wonderful film so far, eh, my fiends? It put me in the old mood to do a little bit of a tinkering with some zombie bits and pieces myself. Boris and I are tinkering with the brain portion here of this zombie head. You might recognize him from another film, Dawn of the Walking Dead, I believe it was, or thereabouts, Bub. Well, Bub's seen better days, so we thought we'd, tinker with him, especially with this wonderful new tool set that I got over the holidays. You got all these wonderful, nice little crook bits and stabby bits, and there's all kinds of things here that can whoops, hold on to him, Boris, hold on to him. I think he wants to fly away. If we can get this out here real quick. Or not that quick. We're in no hurry, are you? I know you want to get back to the film, and we will, I promise you. But I like to show some of my fancy tools, as it were. And hold on up there. Okay. Oh, that makes nice. Hold to him, Boris. Hold to him. And anyway, we'll send this up through the nostril area here. And once you do that, we can pull things out through it like that. I'm not sure old Bub would like that. In fact, he's trying to get away from me. Well, okay. Bye-bye, Bub. Anyhow, we'll do some more tinkering with him a little later with our with our toolkit, right, Boris? What? Okay. That's going to be an interesting thing, right? Okay.
That was easy.
I'm not sure how easy it was, but anyway, tonight's feature film starring John Carradine, also Tura Satana. What a wonderful name. What a beautiful woman. Tura Satana. Anyway, the Astro Zombies was released in May of 1968. Right good while ago. 1968. I still remember it well. It was a good year. Anyway, of course, John Carradine is the proverbial mad doctor. He plays a wonderful mad doctor. I mean, everything he's ever played in, he's played it to the hilt, as they say, and superbly. I mean, from Dracula in House of Dracula and House of Frankenstein, with Karloff and so many others. He played with all the greats, and of course grew to greatdom of the horror world himself. And anyway, the film tonight was produced by a fellow called, what was his name? I wrote it right here. Ted V. Michaels. The budget for this film was $37,000. Imagine, Boris, $37,000. That would, in today's money time, that would be whoosh. That would be a lot. And well, $37,000 even today for us would be quite a lot. Our budget here for Monster Movie Night was about, well, we won't tell, will we? No, I think you're right. We shouldn't tell since it's so low, so very low. Anyway, speaking of zombies and such, we have a little exhibit here at for the museum, Gargoyle Manor. It's the Walking Dead, AMC's Walking Dead. These little fellows here are die-cast, I think they're called. Die-cast? Yes, little metal figures of Rick, and there's his wife, his new wife, and Carl. Poor old Carl. He had it rough right up to the end on that one. Carl. Anyway, we'll show that a little closer up for you there. And anyway, that's a few little things that we have here at the museum, as it were. Let's get back to our film tonight, Astro Zombies. John Carradine, Satana.
Rancho.
See, we must utilize a solar energy storage cell. Otherwise, anytime there's no light, there's no heartbeat. With the storage cell continuing the flow of current, the pump works uninterruptedly. You see, part of the electricity generated by the solar batteries is held in reserve until required. The cell operates on any source of light, the sun or even man-made light.
Rancho. These are the receivers that will relay the knowledge from the memory retention cell into the brain of the transplant. You see, these are tuned to a pre-designated frequency cycle beamed from the transmitter.
There's no question in my mind, gentlemen. Mike Weber and Thompson were onto something. We'll continue a thorough search of the apartment building and the surrounding area. Not many leads, but what we've got is interesting.
It's my fault. I should have been there with Mike.
Wait, Chuck. You can't be all things to all people. You can't blame yourself.
Oh, look, man, let's not try kidding each other. There's no one in this line of work who doesn't know the possible consequences. Remember, this is a team effort. Each man must perform in the area assigned to him. Chuck, without your play, we wouldn't have this dossier. Oh, this came over the teletype from Washington this morning. Our hit-and-run victim turns out to be a very interesting person. Sergio Damagian, alias Sergio Damaski, alias Count Sergei Demas. Born Budapest, 1919. Schooled Royal Academy. Served briefly with 2nd Cavalry. Joined Young Officers Revolt, 1952. Tried, convicted, sentenced 2 years. Served 6 months, escaped. Joined party, took part in Budapest riots, recruited as an apparat, and attached to Istanbul in 1957. Minor cloak and dagger work. Service Paris, 1966. Suspected assassin of Emile Bordeaux, the nuclear physicist. Disappeared, service Mexico 8 months ago. That's the last we have on him.
He sounds like a busy man.
How do you think of the tie-in?
Well, this is a list of the men who attended the Astro Science Conference just 2 weeks before DeMarco was dismissed. Take a look at those names.
Nicholas Heinrichs, Dr. Neville Huntington, Count Sergei Demas.
Coincidence? Not very likely. Has Dr. Petrovich come in yet?
He's waiting.
Oh, good. Have him come right in. Now, if Petrovich can match the name on this list, the picture in that dossier, that, Eric, is our tie-in. Oh, good morning, Doctor. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Good morning, gentlemen.
I'll come right to the point. Doctor, you presided over an Astro Science Conference several months ago. This is a list of the men who attended that conference. Do you think you could remember the face of every man on that list?
Well, I remember Dr. Marcus, Nico Boswick. I know Park Gilden well. Yes, probably.
It's my understanding, Doctor, that these men were carefully screened by security.
Oh, yes, of course.
Do you remember this man?
Yes, I remember the face. Quiet man. He stayed to himself. As I recall, he's one of the few that never took notes. Why do you ask?
We asked, Doctor, because that man was found dead in front of the nightclub, a hit-run victim.
Now, I'm certain that subversive elements have in their possession very important information.
There's got to be a direct connection between this information and the murders.
Are you trying to say that someone has been successful in creating an Astro Man?
Exactly. If you'll forgive me, Doctor, recall the nature of Lynn's murder at the lab. The missing vital organs.
You mean DeMarco?
Well, if not DeMarco, something created by him, something with a demented mind?
Of course. The only brains Dr. DeMarco could use in his experiments were those of dead criminals.
Now, would we know who these men were?
Oh, yes, certainly, from the records in the pathology lab. Or from Janine. She was his assistant. She'd remember all of them.
Chuck, get those records. I have an idea.
Was a fool. You done the killing.
Yes, and don't you forget it. Now shut up and listen.
Not only have I found a way electronically to reactivate deceased body cells, but I've also developed blood that is impervious to infection and disease and possesses the latent quality of instant coagulation. For example, this synthetic fluid has the ability to feed body cells and keep them functioning as if in a living being.
Police arriving at the scene reported several shots at point-blank range had no effect on the suspect, and no traces of blood were found. Seems our Dr. DeMarco has succeeded in creating a subservient zombie. Not someone who questions orders. This is something my government must have.
If DeMarco is transmitting program information like the tape says, and we know the frequency of that radio transmission, we'll find DeMarco's lab with an RF direction finder.
Well, let's not waste any more time.
Could it be done any other way?
It's the only way. It's the only way possible, believe me.
Here, Janine, these are the pathology records. Take a look at them.
Is it possible any one case had a special meaning to you?
Yes. There's a certain look men get before they die. First saw it when I was ward nurse, and then again when I became Dr. DeMarco's assistant.
One of those in the records?
Yes. One night, Dr. DeMarco had a call from the hospital. They had a man who had been shot by the police, and he had only a short time to live. Dr. DeMarco thought we might be able to freeze some vital organs immediately after the moment of death. So we rushed over. I'll never forget the look on that man's face just before he died. It was a fixed, frightening, almost hypnotic stare.
You know something? Holman's plan might work.
I think it will. Now listen, my dear. We're convinced that Dr. DeMarco has created an Astro Man with a defective brain. Now, if it's the brain of the man you've just described, it would explain why he returned to the lab.
And murdered Lynn.
Do you mean he was looking for me?
Possibly.
We feel he'll attempt to return to the lab, if he has a reason.
I see. Oh, you mean you want me to act as bait?
Honey, Chuck and I will be right outside the door.
When?
Tonight.
I lay down a grid on the city map by driving the RF finder on a northerly to southerly direction, then cross-cutting its east to west will cover a large amount of the city all at once.
What makes you think it works?
Listen, friend, I know my business. Now, we'll set up the frequency selector to pick up only those frequencies transmitted over 100,000 cycles. That way we'll black out all the commercial radio and television stations.
Excellent. Where do you suggest we start?
Oh, I think the Woodland Hills area has the highest advantage. We can cover the eastern part of the city in a minimal amount of time.
I don't like the risk.
You let me worry about the risk. What kind of car did you get this time?
The car's no problem.
Did you change the plates?
Of course.
Good. Let's get started.
Now, Franco, the time has now come to test our new brain. We must feed this memory circuit through the emotional quotient rectifier to determine if there's any residual impurity. I've introduced into the console the electrolytic limiters, which should disallow interference with the program patterns functioning within the body mechanism. Actuate the heart circuit. Excellent. Before we can recall our first creation, we must attempt to override his emotional index by stepping up the voltage and transmission frequency. It's obvious the voltage and frequency boost will not affect an override. Francho, remove number 9 from the thermal freeze casket, preparing for brain transfer and total astromobilization.
All right, now, Janine, you know what to do. The main thing is now to look busy here. Come on, sit over here. Take a look at some slides, do something anything you'd normally do in the lab. Now, this is important. You've got to show yourself out this window every now and then.
Pardon me for being nosy, but where do you suppose he'll come in?
Honey, we don't know, but don't worry about it. He won't take a breath in here we won't know about.
Oh, that looks like about it. Janine, good luck, honey.
I'm picking up a signal from that direction.
It sounds like she's keeping busy.
We should be able to see her by the window. Something?
There's nothing like hobbies to keep a person going, you know, especially when you're a mad scientist. Okay, let's see what we got going now. Yes, oh yes indeed. All right, let's see. Yes, we have the microscope and we have, so now on with the oscillator. Oh yes indeed, okay. Yes. Wow, whoa, okay. Yes indeed, indeed. Alright, we've oscillated that quite enough now. And we'll, oh yes, let's see what we got here. Swirl it around with the mixtures. Indeed. Let's take the old stirring. Ah yes, invisibility. Oh, that would come in handy for one of these days. Oh, well, hello, and welcome to Gargoyle Manor's The Laboratory. That's right. You've caught me doing a little bit of a hobby that I love doing, mixing up chemicals and seeing what I can bring back to life or other way around. You know, a person in my line of work as a horror host and museum curator has to have other hobbies to keep themselves going. And I love mad science, don't you? I mean, you get to mix things up, and if you're very, very careful, you can actually blow things up, including yourself if you're not careful. Isn't that right, my friend? Yes, you're looking a little bony there. We're going to have to do a few tests here and maybe get some meat on that bones, as it were. Anyway, yes, let's put that there to marinate as it was. Oh, indeed. Well, what do we have? Oh, what do we have here? Mad sciencey. Let's turn on an extra. There we go. An extra. Ah, yes. Here we are. That I've been looking for these all over the place. You know, you have to have eyeballs every once in a while, as you can see them floating around in there. You know, you never know what monster or creature that you make, you know, such as Boney back here, and other things that might need an extra eye. You know, you might need one yourself someday. Anyway, hope you're enjoying tonight's feature film at, I'm sure that they have a wonderful laboratory as well. I mean, ours may be small, but it's got quality instruments, you know. You can make sure of that. Yes, indeed. You can make double sure of that. So anyway, let's get back to the film, shall we? While I do a few more experiments and relax in general. Boris, where's those Gostini mixture makings? I'm feeling a little bit dry.
doesn't look like it's going to work, huh?
Mm.
Come on, I'll drive you home. Well?
How about some coffee? Or a drink?
Sounds pretty good. Come on.
There are lights.
There's got to be a fuse. Everybody else has lights. Got a flashlight?
No, I don't.
I have one in the car and I'll check the fuse box. Be right back. Janine's apartment, the Astro men tried to attack her. Now look, I knocked off what might be his power source. It looks like a story cell or something. I don't know. No, he got away. Look, he grabbed my flashlight, shined it on what looks like photocells stuck in his forehead. Now, look, if Petrovich is right, he's got to head back to DeMarco's lab. Can you get Chuck to converge all available vehicles in the area? We're bound to pick up his trail somewhere. Right. And please call me back. You all right? Easy now.
Put it over there. Sure, this is the place.
Let's go.
No, you're mistaken. Only I will go.
Terrence, what is this?
She knows. Now that we have found out DeMarco's lab, my information is complete.
I knew I was right about you.
Yes, there are other governments whose agents pay a higher price than yours.
As always, Tyrus, you're a fool.
I have to take out any more from you. I'm sorry, Juan. You must go, too.
I should have killed you before. But you may have the pleasure, Juan.
We're friends.
Friendly enough to kill. Tyrus, my friend, we must part company. Poor Tyrus. He was never any good at picking with winners.
Let's go. We must not keep Dr. DeMarco waiting.
Rancho, come here. Your own experiments will have to wait. I require your assistance in more important work. Hand me the circuit fuser. Fusion from the solar energy cells to the nerve centers is now complete. You see, Franco, the degree of photosensitivity is very important. In addition to the reception of all artificial light, or the activation of the heart pump, these photoelectric cells also polarize sunlight for assimilation and storage of the excess in the battery pack. Now, set the heart flow valve on the pump to 5 and the induction coil to 0.2 amps. We must effect a brain transplant while the body is still in a semi-cryogenic state. Another failure would be disastrous.
Yes, it would.
Who are you?
It's our business.
How did you get here?
Juan is very adept in your field of electronics, Doctor. With the proper equipment, it was quite easy for us to pick up your radio transmissions.
What do you want?
Your knowledge.
My knowledge would be useless to you.
That is for us to decide.
We are aware of your experiments, Doctor. We know that you have succeeded in creating an Astro Zombie.
How did you know that?
The recent murders, the news description of the suspect, and a tape of your lecture at the Astro Science Conference.
Yes, he's the only complete astromobilization I've been able to effect to date. Unfortunately, however, not totally successful. The only brain available to me at the time was that of a psychopathic killer. But I have prepared a new Astro Man.
And who is this man?
Franco, my assistant. Able, loyal, and unfortunately mute.
Fortunate for him.
We just completed the photocell test and we're about to activate the heart system.
By all means, proceed.
What's happened to you? Franco, get a chair and help him to the energizer. My power cell is gone.
Lock all the doors.
Honey, I'm going with you.
I need saving for you in the car. Now, please go back.
I don't want to be alone.
All right, come on.
Now, you stay right here and don't move.
All right, hold it!
There's to destroy him.
No, you must not. You must find a way to control him.
There is no way. We must destroy him. Then we can complete mobilization of the second Astro Man, whose brain is morally pure.
No. I'm Satana. You must obey my commands. Kill them. I said kill! Horrible.
Well, there you have it. Marco's genius didn't get him very far.
Well, as Dr. Petrovich said, there is one basic element of human life that can never be removed. The emotions.
Thank God for that.
Such an unhappy ending, Boris?
Well, yeah.
Yes, I know. It's sad. I know that sounded like a lovely, cheerful voice, but really Boris is very sad about it. Myself, you know, these old horror movies, that's the only thing about it is the sadness of a lot of the endings. of the films. You know, the monsters and the creatures and things just didn't seem to have a chance back then. Anyway, glad you could make it for another episode, another season 11 here at Monster Movie Night, along with me and Boris. Right, Boris? We enjoy each and every one of you visiting us, well, you know, through your computer. We get to share our world, our films, our likes, our, you know, everything, just everything. And before we go, I'd like to make mention that, you know, last year we talked about how I was nominated for the official Horror Host Hall of Fame. Well, it's started happening, my dear fiends. You can vote now. It started the 3rd of January. It will end the 3rd of February. So, each and every one of you, please send in your vote. You can vote for me or any other of your favorite horror hosts that are on the ballot. Maybe even write in. I don't know. Possibly. But we kind of hope that you'll vote for your old fiend and pal here, Bobby Gammonster, here at Monster Movie Night. Don't we, Boris? I mean, it would be a great honor to be able to be counted among such greats in the horror hosting world. It would be just a dream or a nightmare come true. Anyway, just thought I'd mention it. You'll probably hear me mention it a few times along the way. Well, until next time. Till next time, let me toast you with a Gostini. May all your nights be dreary, and may they all be scary. And may you always keep screaming.